Long I've called you, my Lord. Long I've called you. Many years I have longed for your sight. Bathe the darkness with tears of devotion. Offered candles in prayer to your light. How much longer, friend, must I cry your name? I am yours, ever yours. Will you come?
The voice of God calls us to awaken him. How will he find us when he comes?
Awake and ready.
And when he asks us to dedicate our lives ever more perfectly to him, how will he find us?
Awake
and ready.
Heavenly Father,
Heavenly Father,
Divine Mother,
Divine Mother,
friend, beloved God,
friend, beloved God,
great Masters,
great Masters,
Jesus Christ,
Jesus Christ,
Babaji Krishna,
Babaji Krishna,
Lahiri Mahashaya,
Lahiri Mahashaya,
Swami Shri Yukteswar,
Swami Shri Yukteswar,
Paramahansa Yogananda,
Paramahansa Yogananda,
saints of all religions,
saints of all religions,
we humbly and lovingly bow before thee.
we humbly and lovingly bow before thee.
Bless and guide our lives.
Bless and guide our lives.
Help us to perceive your presence
Help us to perceive your presence
behind our restlessness,
behind our restlessness,
that we may feel your joy
that we may feel your
and
joy
become your channels
and become your
to
channels
transmit your blessings
to transmit your blessings
into this world.
into this world.
Om. Peace.
Peace.
Amen. Good morning, friends. You can have a seat.
Tara's brave hills so quiet, the day I came there, not a green leaf stirred on the air, not a bird did proclaim ancient grandeur and fame, only ruins, faint memories declare. I marvel to think, how can greatness e'er die? How can song disperse in the sky? How can hopes and dreams fade? How the warrior's sharp blade become dust? Was victory alive? I stood there and pondered the great deeds of man's past, how like clouds in the sunset no glory can last. Even we, as we labor to achieve some bright end, must accept after glory that the night will descend. I've dreamed a broad rainbow over thicket and thorn, over crags that call tarry. Your hopes are forlorn. All too often my dreaming courage turned to despair, till I learned that success is but the courage to dare. As I gazed and thought sadly of Tara's demise, suddenly I saw her walls rise, saw her long regal halls, heard her people's brave calls, as though time had doffed a disguise. And I knew in that moment the deeds that men do never die, each victory is true. Every effort we spend gives more strength in the end, till our gladness in life's ever new. Every effort we spend gives more strength in the end, till our gladness in life's ever new.
Continue to meditate. As I read to you on our affirmation for this week, patience. Patience, it has been well said, is the shortest path to God. To attune the heart to the rhythms of eternity, one must first adjust himself to life's longer rhythms. He should not allow his mind to become absorbed in concentration on the little ripples at the surface of the sea. Patience means also adjusting to whatever is in life, rather than wishing it were something else. Patience is a prerequisite for every type of success, for it is when we work with things as they are that we can change them to whatever we might like them to be. And let's affirm together first in a strong voice. I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea,
I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea,
nor yet the crashing waves.
nor yet the crashing waves.
I am the vast ocean deeps,
I am the vast ocean deeps,
unaffected by mighty surface storms,
unaffected by mighty surface storms,
untouched by any superficial change.
untouched by any superficial change.
And now a little softer, taking it deeper inside. I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea,
I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea,
nor yet the crashing waves.
nor yet the crashing waves.
I am the vast ocean deeps,
I am the vast ocean deeps,
unaffected by mighty surface storms,
unaffected by mighty surface storms,
untouched by any superficial change.
untouched by any superficial change.
And now in a whisper, I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea,
I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea,
nor yet the crashing waves.
nor yet the crashing waves.
I am the vast ocean deeps,
I am the vast ocean deeps,
unaffected by mighty surface storms,
unaffected by mighty surface storms,
untouched by any superficial change.
untouched by any superficial change.
And now silently broadcasting it at the point between the eyebrows. I am neither the ripples at the surface of the sea, nor yet the crashing waves. I am the vast ocean deeps, unaffected by mighty surface storms, untouched by any superficial change. And pray silently with me. Long have I called thee, Lord, but thou hast not answered me. Ah, but for what long eons didst thou endure my fickleness? In this life, Lord, and if need be through eternity, I will keep calling thee. Om. Peace.
Peace.
Ananda. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Sunday service. I'm Dharmadevi. This is Narayan for those visiting, and welcome to those joining us online. I'll read to you from Rays of the One Light, weekly commentaries on the Bible and Bhagavad Gita by Swami Ananda. Deeds versus intentions. Truth is one and eternal. Realize oneness with it in your deathless self within. The following commentary is based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. Jesus Christ emphasized repeatedly the spirit, not the letter of the law. In chapter 5 of the Gospel of St. Matthew, he speaks of the sin of killing and of the legal punishment attendant on that sin, but says that more important than the act is the desire to kill or to do harm. He shows that the sin of harmful desire goes beyond merely wanting to kill. My message to you, he said, is this: whoever is angry with his brother without cause already stands condemned. Whoever contemptuously calls his brother a fool shall answer for it to the Supreme Council, and whoever calls his brother an outcast of God shall be in danger of hellfire. Brother here means any other human being, for all of us in the highest sense are brothers and sisters, children of our one Father, Mother, God. The true self of one is the self of all. To hurt another is, even if one doesn't realize it, to hurt oneself. Swami Kriyananda in The Path recalls an episode in which the master, Paramahansa Yogananda, revealed his sense of identity even with the plants. One day, Kriyananda wrote, we were moving a delicate but rather heavy tropical plant into position on the hillside. Our handling evidently was too rough, for Master cried out, "Be careful what you are doing. Can't you feel? It's alive." To wish death to anyone, to wish even harm to another creature, is to deny in oneself the reality of that divine life of which all of us are manifestations. It is, in short, to deny the eternal truth proclaimed by the Bhagavad Gita in the 2nd chapter. This self is never born, nor does it perish. Once existing, it cannot ever cease to be. It is birthless, eternal, changeless, ever itself. It is not slain when the body is slain. Thus, through Holy Scripture, God has spoken to mankind.
Good morning again, friends.
Good morning.
I'd like to share from Yogananda's book of prayer demands. This is called Whispers from Eternity, if you're not familiar with it. And this prayer demand is, intoxicate me with the wine of thy love. Intoxicate me with devotion's wine. I will drink of thee until death. My earthly desires are now dead, and I will live in thee forever. A thrilling current runs through each cell of my body and through every opening of my love for thee. Saturated with devotion, I will enter the heaven of thy presence. Groping blindly, the urge of my devotion suddenly flings open this secret door in my soul. Oh, what bliss I feel on beholding thy light. I remembered a time when I used to live on the East Coast, and before I decided I was going to move to Ananda Village, which is a spiritual community many of you know up in Northern California, and I shared this news with my family, and it went over like a Led Zeppelin. It was not welcome. But I still marvel at my father, God rest his soul. So he was always closing. And even though I made up my resolve that I was going to move to Ananda Village, he was trying to find, a chink in the armor, some way that he could, some persuasive argument that. And I just remember this one time he, after he tried things like wasted talent, and when those more obvious strategies didn't work, then he said he needed to get more creative. So he said, "Son, why are you going to Northern California?" all the sinners are here on the East Coast. Always be closing that. The truth is that there's a part of our soul nature that is always open. Right? When I first met Swami Kriyananda, I never forgot that experience. It was in New York City too, and he was taking this boat from Europe, the QE2, a big boat, sailing, because they thought, well, if he took the boat, it would be better for his health, because Swamiji had a litany of health conditions. Diabetes, cancer, this, that, and the other thing. But nothing can dim the light of my soul like this whisper. Swami it didn't matter, those outward things. There was something inwardly that guided him. And when I first met Swami, talk about always be closing, the first 4 words he said to me, because there was going to be a program that weekend in Rhode Island, and he just very sweetly and simply said, "Will you be coming?" And here I was working in the financial markets, and I had been schooled by my father and always be closing. And I was like, wow, he's asking me for my commitment. And that's what Divine Mother, we have Divine Mother here on the altar. Every moment of our life, she's asking us, will you be coming? Right? Are you closing down? Are you the ripples at the surface of the sea? Are you the crashing waves? Right? Are you the melodrama of your life? Or are you the vast ocean deep? Are you opening up to my divine love, to my divine joy? That is the undercurrent that thrills every part of you. And we need practice. I don't know about you, but I fail repeatedly, but it's in the effort. That song that Keshava is going to share with us, The Hill That Was Tar, there's this one line, it strikes a chord with my soul. Swami says, every effort we spend gives more strength in the end until our gladness in life is ever new. No effort is ever lost. No effort is ever wasted. Any little effort you put out to reach up towards God. Divine Mother is reaching that hand back down, 2 hands to bring you up. It's just we need the repeated effort, and we need the repeated practice to again and again, because our life, I don't know about you, but I suspect you have gone through some suffering and some pain in your life, and life tries to shatter us, right? You feel like you're buffeted and shattered, is the way Master used to say. That again and again we're going out to sea, and the waves of our karma, right, push us back again and again. And if we just, with that persistent, that patient, this is the affirmation today, with that patient endurance, if we just keep saying, well, no, nothing can dim the light of my soul. There is a part of me. This is what the Gita is talking about. This self, it's never born, right? It doesn't die. Wind cannot blow it over. Water can't drown it. Fire can't burn it. So, then we say, where is that? And that is why the Masters come. Because they come to be this great reflection to remind us that it's just like one moment. That's why they say one moment in the presence of the saint can be your raft over the ocean of delusion. It was just Swamiji, just that one moment, right? He found Autobiography of a Yogi in New York City. Just feeling that picture, feeling that vibration. He was drawn into that current. And if we can follow the trail of that inspiration, it leads back to our eternal home in God. And there's nothing, it's just Divine Mother gives us all the opportunity in the world. We can try all the outer things, but we try, what do we say every week in our Festival of Light? We repeatedly lost everything we had. And we again and again, we think, this is it. I'm going to be the dog, chasing the carrot around the dog tracks. I used to go to the dog tracks with my grandfather in Florida. And I was like 7 years old, and somehow they would put bets in for you, and somehow I won the trifecta, 3 dogs in a row. And I'll never forget my grandfather. I didn't tell him what dogs, and he's like, Philip, why didn't you tell me you like the 3 dog? And he was so offended. But we try all these different things, right? We try the dog track. We try whatever diversion it might be, but we can't get away from that one undercurrent. And that, what is that undercurrent? It's Divine Mother. It's that you are as old as God. It's the Divine Mother. It's the love that you feel for your children is not yours. The love that you feel for your earthly family. The love that you feel for your culture, your upbringing. The love that you feel for just a passing stranger, it's not ours. That love, it's a divine gift. But God has given us, because we're co-creators with Spirit, He's given us this sacred gift of free will. How do you want to use that? Do you want to use it selfishly, or do you want to start to learn that the more that you give of yourself, the more, like Christ said, it's more blessed to give than it is to receive, because it's in that giving that we are blessed. And this is why the Masters come to give us that example, that it's not their love either, that they're just a great window unto the infinite. There was one time that Swami was outside Mount Washington, and it rained, and his window got really dirty, and for weeks he didn't wash the window, and then finally he went out and cleaned the window, and then he came back inside, and he looked out the window into the beautiful gardens and said, what a beautiful window, to himself. And then he sort of smiled at himself. He said, well, it's because I can't see the window, right, that it's beautiful. It's because it's translucent. And that's what the Masters are. They're just a great, they become a diamond. We still have a little bit of polishing. I'm not going to say that we're charcoal, but we still need polishing. And that's where, how do we polish? That's where meditation comes in. And so I invite you to practice this sacred science and art. It's the self-polishing. It's the self-purification. It's bringing in that great light. Long we feared to face your love, lest our emptiness it prove. Now at last our hearts we give you. You remain our friend. It's when we just turn over our heart to God, that then it's in that openness that His light can come in, and it can purify us, and it can cleanse us. And really, it's if you have to live like Yogananda said, why not live in the right way? If you're going to, we have to be in this world, then why not? Why not try to find a way to cooperate with that flow of divine grace? There was this story of Yogananda when he was out in the desert, and many of you know 29 Palms out by Joshua Tree, and he had a home there where he would go and meditate, and he would dictate. This is where he dictated the Bhagavad Gita lessons. And there was one man, Jerry, there, who really wanted to build a roof for a Master on the home. And Master said, well, no, we don't need the roof. And he insisted. He wanted to put this concrete roof on Master's home out there. And so Master said, fine, hurry up, do it. And then so Jerry got on the roof, and he tarred the whole roof, and he put chicken wire over it, and he nailed the chicken wire down. And so the roof then was like a sieve. It had all these holes in it. And Master said, hurry! And then all of a sudden a storm came. That's why he was asking him to hurry. And the roof was leaking everywhere, so they had pots and pans in every location. And Master said there was 2 rooms that the water didn't drip. It was his bedroom and his dictation room. And he said then at the very end of the storm, he was lying on his bed relaxing, and he said one little drop came down and fell on his belly. And he said that was Divine Mother's way of having fun with him. This is one of the keys to getting back to the eternal self, is that like that affirmation was saying, it's to attune ourselves to a longer rhythm in life. To not get so caught up in our little melodrama, Just like, and everyone, even Master, right? He said he wanted to go away from the organization. He wanted to go to Mexico and stay and never come back. And Divine Mother pulled him back by the ear. She said, I can run the universe and I'm still in bliss. Can't you run a little pinpoint? That's what we have to do. We have to we have our responsibilities, we have our children, we have our jobs, we have whatever ordained responsibilities that God has given us. But not to let that take away from our highest responsibility, which is to saturate ourselves with that love for God. Because then everything that we do becomes replete, it becomes surcharged, it becomes sanctified. And then it doesn't really matter much what we do outwardly, right? God doesn't really care all that much. Do you do this, do you do that, this job, this thing, that thing? I got my body, my soul is marching on, but my body went down recently. And I couldn't I couldn't come to a service last week. Anyway, and so Dharmadevi at one point came and just gave me a kiss on the forehead. It was Divine Mother. And she said, find your worth in your love for God. Because that's what Divine Mother is saying to us. It's not what you do outwardly, right, that she measures. She's measuring the weight with which the love that you do it. And just the more that we can bring that natural love of our heart to whatever it is, and that's why then it becomes blessed, it becomes purified. And then we too, just like Master said, it becomes the little drop becomes the ocean, and it will be eternity and I, one united ray, a tiny bubble of laughter, and we will melt into the vast sea of mirth itself. God bless you.